Hello YouTube and welcome to my review of the Orion LMG for the Vanu Sovereignty. So first I'll be going over the stats of the gun, seeing how they build up the weapon. Then I'll go over the aesthetics, how it looks. Then I will go over the attachment options, what I would suggest and what I would recommend against. And finally I'll be giving you a brief overview of tactics of the gun, what you should be using this gun for. The damage for this weapon comes in at 143 damage at 10 meters, going out to 125 at 65 meters. The short reload for this weapon is 3.045 seconds, meaning that for an LMG this gun reloads ridiculous fast, rivaled only by the NS-15M. However, this does mean that you will still need to find a safe place to reload it, even for a short reload. The magazine size of this weapon comes in at 50 rounds. Now, this does sound like a lot if you're used to SMGs, carbines, assault rifles, anything like that. But for an LMG, that's disgusting. It's absolutely horrible. In the background now, you should be seeing some footage of just how bad this gun is at crowd control. Keeping with that topic, the ammo pool for this gun is a meager 200 rounds. This means that not even on an extremely long kill streak, but on a vaguely long kill streak, even if you're accurate with your gun, you will find yourself running out of ammo. Moving on to recoil. The vertical recoil, so that's how much your gun kicks up when you fire it, is a respectable 0.4 degrees. However, the first shot recoil multiplier for this gun is a very, very high 2.15 times. This means whenever you initiate a burst of fire, your weapon will be kicking up over double what it usually does. This makes the gun horrible at burst fire and therefore ineffective at range, building towards this gun's close quarters emphasis. This gun has an equal left and right recoil bias. This means that whenever you fire, it will bounce from side to side randomly, meaning that in your head it should be easier to compensate because it will stay in the general zone, but it's impossible to compensate for, as if you drag it one way it could kick to the other. Alright guys, now I'm going to let you see a little bit of footage of what this actually looks like. The ADS, or aim down sight accuracy for this gun, is 0.1, meaning that if you're scoping, your bullets are going to land where you put that crosshair, especially considering it's a Vanu gun, therefore no bullet drop. The bloom shot of this weapon is 0.05, same as most weapons, and the hip fire while standing still is 2.5. This does sound like a lot less after you've been used to an SMG. However, for an LMG, this is very, very nice. Remember, this gun also has access to the laser sight. Okay guys, now I'm going to let you see a little bit of footage of the hip fire accuracy without a laser sight and then with a laser sight. The rate of fire for this weapon is a ridiculous 750 RPM. Now if you've watched my Iridani review, you should know this is SMG grade rate of fire. This is the same rate of fire as the Iridani. On an LMG, this makes a crazy close quarters weapon. The aim down sight movement multiplier for this gun is 0.75 times. This means that you will be strafing while scoped much faster than most other LMG users. The muzzle velocity for this weapon is 615 meters a second without any attachments. This is much higher than, say, SMG muzzle velocities, but quite average for an LMG. Okay, so now let's move on to the aesthetics of the gun. Here I'm just going to be going with what I think the gun looks and feels like, in my personal opinion. Remember, this is of course my own personal opinion. As far as the aesthetics go, this gun's just another Vanu gun. There are many guns that look like this, but this is the first one that you will own. It's nothing fancy. Like I said, the reload animation is just another Vanu reload animation. There's nothing fancy about it, it's just another take the battery out and put a new one in. Okay, now I'm going to let you guys listen to the unsuppressed and suppressed noises for this weapon. attachments, the Orion has access to scopes 1x through to 4x, including the 2x reflex scope and the night vision scope. This weapon also has access to the forward grip, laser sight, and Darklight flashlight. Now, moving on to tactics for the gun. For this weapon, I would recommend getting up close and personal with your enemies. This is a close quarters weapon, there's no two ways about it. I would also recommend using the concussion grenades that the heavy assault has access to stun a room of enemies before going on them. But remember, you're not a crowd control weapon. As you saw earlier, this gun is not effective at crowd control. For the attachments, I would recommend using the laser sight to tighten up your hip fire. I would also recommend using a 1x reflex sight or night vision scope for close quarters, as you do not want to be taking this gun into range. As for heavy shields, I would recommend the adrenaline shield or the NMG. In all the footage, you'll see me using an NMG. I would rather be using the adrenaline, but I don't quite have the certs for it. I've only got it to rank 3. As for pistols, as long as you aren't taking a crossbow, most pistols will work well for this gun, as the crossbow is much more of a niche weapon and is better used for when you need a crossbow, whereas the pistols are better to just whip out when your magazine's dry in the middle of a firefight. I would personally recommend this weapon for close quarters heavies, as in my view this is one of the best close quarters weapons in the game, but lacks in range. Thank you for watching, guys. If you found this video informative or you just like watching it, please feel free to like. If you have any thoughts on the gun yourself or anything that I could do better, please leave a comment. And finally, if you would like to see more Planetside 2 content in the future, please subscribe to me. Thank you for watching, guys. Goodbye from Joe.